potential build that I could see from them is that there's a specific soulbind to the Kyrian Covenant that is actually very effective against feral druids. It allows your vial to be, which removes bleeds when you use it, to be also removing bleeds from allies near you. So if there's a target getting singled down by the feral druid, if the feral druid's running the Draught legendary, which increases their bleed damage on a single target, they could have a cycle of these removals of the bleeds to try and buy them some time throughout the fight. But if they want to go that route, I'm not sure the composition that they would be running specifically, or they're just going to do the Rogue Shadow Priest Shaman and have put more practice into it here. I don't really think that they want to use Tessia based on the way he's kind of acting on Mage in this matchup. So yes, they're running Warrior Shadow Priest Druid, and they're running a Kyrian Warrior, and I'm going to be looking at the Soulbind specifically for Waz to see if he's going to be trying to use that Vial to assist with the bleed damage from Tony.
Honestly, even looking at the last game, the amount of healing Asgrath was able to put out on the Druid was quite staggering. In some cases, doubling the Restoration Shaman. So I feel like in terms of throughput, having the Restoration Druid on your team makes a lot of sense here. And yeah, I'm happy with this pick coming in from Method EU. Curious to see if they are going to be running the Kyrian Vial. It's likely that Waz will be running that. But yeah, Shadow Priest with the rest of Druid backing him up and the Warrior as well. This is going to be a really durable composition. You see both teams are kind of feeling each other out at this point. Maybe FTK, my way at this point, is trying to decide exactly what they are going to be wanting to do. What target they want to go after, just thinking about strategies, because this is something maybe they didn't expect.
Yeah, and both teams are kind of happy to just take it slow here in the start. And I guess for, like you mentioned, for FTK My Way, they're just trying to figure out, okay, how do we want to approach this match? Who are we going to go for? Are we going to sit back, play a slower game? Are we going to go in and try to win with crowd control? For Method, they have a pretty tanky composition. They're going to have a Shadow Priest that can remove the traps. They got a Warrior with the Intervene and all the disruption. And they got a Druid that, in theory, should win on mana. So they have crafted themselves, on paper, a nice composition. But with jungle, they like to chop up those Shadow Priests. They like to chop up those Warriors. We'll see what they end up doing. First setup is going to go out onto Waz here. They get a trap here onto Zuniaki. Onto Chaz. Zuniaki going for the Master Spell, but it was already War Bannered by Waz. So it looks like Zuniaki is also not running the improved Master Spell here. So some interesting choices. And I think Waz will be the target for Horizon. And in between those traps, they're just going to try to kite, try to run, try to reset. Tony now going for a Cyclone here onto Waz. And Horizon going to be happy to just try to reset their momentum a little bit.
They're just laughing at Zuniaki. Zuniaki popped Void Form, and they're just running away from him. But they go for a swap onto Relza behind the pillar. Tony's trying to assist with crowd control, but Relza is taking a huge amount of damage, dropping his barrier on the Spirit Bastion to try and recover. I love that swap by Method EU. It wasn't looking good for them, but that netted them quite a lot of options moving forward in this match, getting the medallion away from Relza. In the meantime, we see Horizon trying to set up with a bash onto Chaz, but no further crowd control, so he should be able to more than easily start to heal his team. The main win condition here, I think, for either side is likely going to be mana. Can Chaz find drinks and maintain his mana against Relza, who's running that Night Fae Priest, and he's been opting to run that throughout the entire circuit with the extra mana regeneration provided to that Covenant. He's been able to outlast a lot of other Resto Druid teams. As Kasu gets stunned up, they pull him away to safety, like that life grip timing from Relza. Zuniaki moves to try and eat the freezing trap. He isn't able to, and Chaz is crowd controlled. Waz down to half health here. Zuniaki's just trying to counter pressure with Void Form, and he's chosen to run the Void Volley instead of improved Master Spell. Now, if he lands a bunch of Void Volleys onto Relza during their go, that could be really scary, but I've yet to see him coordinated in that fashion. At the moment, it's just been the Spear of Bastion, Shadow Priest stun into Shadow Priest silence, which could still be devastating, but I would like to see Zuniaki line up his Void Form more so with that.
Yeah, well, let's see if they're going to be able to get that lined up. About 3.5 minutes elapsed in this game so far. Zuniaki still under fire. Chaz's mana already at about 50%, but relatively even here with Relza. See if he can actually sneak away for a drink. They're actually making a swap here over onto Waz. Let's see if they can take him down. The Warrior, though, with defensive stance, going to be relatively durable. Has some cooldowns, getting bursted down, though. Huge heal coming in from Chaz, and Waz will stabilize as they continue their assault. And the Shadow Priest Warrior just has a lot of consistent damage. Does have that burst potential, but I would say one of the main strengths of it is you just have a lot of consistent pressure, constantly chopping up Kasu in this match. And Relza gets out of crowd control, able to top him off, but they get the aspect of the turtle out of the way. That's a big victory there for Method EU before dampening is even elapsed.
Yeah, and that's the Void Volley finally doing some work here for Method. Let's see what else they can get here. Kazu looking like a really prime target right now, but so is Zuniaki. Zuniaki, though, has his fade to work with right now, but the next setup could be devastating. There's the shackles, there's the stun onto Chaz, and there's the trap. I'm not sure what happened to the trap, but Zuniaki might just die anyway. If that trap landed, that would have been lights out right there. I think he might have missed it. Zuniaki barely hanging on right there, and they didn't really expend too many cooldowns there. It looked a lot scarier than what it was. And Kazu now going to be on the back foot, full cyclone secured onto Relza. Kazu now about to take a lot of damage. The Kyrian Spear could come down any second for Waz here. He's looking for Kazu, no aspect of the turtle. He just wants to make sure that he doesn't have that Feign Death ability. And there it is, Feign Death coming out. And now Waz has an opportunity to potentially land the spear. And now it is going to be Waz just protecting Zuniaki here, actually trying to get Tony away from his Shadow Priest. Kazu should have his Feign Death coming back up. That's going to allow him to walk out of the Kyrian Spear. So that window to go for that is now lost for Waz, and instead he's probably going to go for it onto Relza here. Can they coordinate it though with the Void Eruption from Zuniaki? It could be massive. There it is, Stormbolt into the spear, and there's the Void Eruption. Can Zuniaki get it off? It's going to be Void Volley City here, and there it is. Beautiful Void Volleys coming out, but none of them hit Relza. They all just miss.
Airball.
And Relza's going to walk. Relza walks out scot-free here. And Waz actually going to be the one who takes a little bit of damage here, having to face some of his cooldowns.
That actually could have been the end of the game if every single Void Volley landed versus every single Void Volley missed. I think Relza probably wouldn't have survived. And it's going to be double crowd control because they had Tony as well. So that's really unlucky for Zuniaki. He's interrupted on his Mass Dispel, but there's no pressure at the moment, so this freezing trap's not big value. Relza's trying to drink. Waz leaps over, denying the drink, now stunning up Kazu, trying to keep the pressure going. Chaz is trying to drink. Relza's moving over. Tony is moving over. They cannot allow Chaz to regenerate mana. They're even at this point, I believe, so they need to make sure that he doesn't drink if they want to have a hope of winning. They're targeting down Waz and the Warrior. No die by the sword. No Iron Bark. They could get a lot of pressure here. Nature Swiftness sweeps in from Chaz. We see a fear defensively onto Kazu and Tony for a setup onto Relza. Dropping that Spear Bastion, Void Eruption. I like the coordination there where the Void Volleys connect. They get one Void Volley onto Relza into a silence, trying to take him out. Will it be enough? So close to a kill, but now Method EU have cleaned up their strategy, and if they can keep executing it out like this, I don't think Relza's going to last much longer, but maybe he won't have to with Waz down below half. Trading out his Fire Blood to remove the shackle. He's trying to get aggressive, but he doesn't want to line of sight Chaz. Pulling into line of sight for a moment, going for sweeping strikes, trying to pad the meter, cleave as much damage as possible here. Relza has 0 mana. Waz needs to stay aggressive. He's chopping up everybody at this point, charging in to go for the kill here. Remember the last time these teams faced off, Horizon just absolutely smashed Method EU 3-0 in their series, but this Warrior Shadow Priest Druid is looking so good. The next Spear Bastion could easily close the game out here if they land some Void Volleys along with it. Relza is on the run, trying to Night Fae behind the pillar. Will he be able to get a drink here? If Relza can regenerate any mana whatsoever, a Void Eruption around the side snipes Relza, stopping his drink for a moment, but I think he might have got at least a tick. He's got the tiniest bit of mana to work with at this point, and Chaz has been crowd controlled for some time, but he gets a Cenarian Ward up. Zuniaki is likely to not take too much damage through that Cenarian Ward. Waz goes for Stormbolt on Kazu, and I love the swaps. He uses one Stormbolt on the Hunter when Spear Bastion isn't available. Then when Spear Bastion comes up, the Stormbolt's immediately going onto the Priest. Zuniaki goes for Void Volleys, fearing up Tony into a Cyclone to target down the Hunter, and they're switching gears, going after the Hunter instead, but a Shadow Melt totally shuts down the shackle on Kazu, and he looks to escape the Spear Bastion, but he's still very low on health. 0 mana in a silence, disengaging across midfield, trying to kite away from Waz. Tony tossing out some heals to recover Kazu. Tony is basically the healer now, with Relza having 0 mana. Both sides 0 mana in a tense game 1.
Oh, Zuniaki forced into Dispersion. Malediction is going to be channeling on him. Zuniaki still under fire though. Chaz, he's got no mana left at this point of the game. Both these healers are running on fumes. But luckily for the side of Horizon, they have Tony. Zuniaki getting targeted down. Chaz responds with the Iron Bark, but it could just be overwhelming pressure here. Method EU, they came in with a surprise composition, but Horizon is not making it easy. At the same time, though, Relza is in a lot of trouble. Trades out the Rapture to spam Powered Shield. Zuniaki still getting low. Fall trap.
That's it.
That's it.
On Chaz. Zuniaki, how are you possibly going to survive? One Shadowman gets
He
interrupted, and Chaz manages
Void
to
Eruption!
survive some heals. Big Void Eruption here on Relza, but still the heals coming in from Tony. I want to see the healing done by Tony in this match, keeping his team nice and stable. Zuniaki can't really chase. Relza just running right now with the soul shape. Let's see if he can actually survive. Waz is all over him in battle stance, trying to get some damage out. He gets feared away, though. At the same time, Tony getting rotted down. This game is just so back and forth, but Horizon definitely on the back foot right now, but they have spoken too soon.
Relza. Oh my god, Zuniaki's gonna die on the opposite side. There's no way. Caster and Tony are winning the game on the flip side here. So Waz finally returning to the spot. Waz eats the trap there to get a mind control onto Chaz, but Zuni has recovered here. Zuniaki gonna have this diversion up in 5 seconds. Tony here, super low on HP, and I don't think he has anything really to work with. The survival instinct's about to run out, and it will. Waz also taking a lot of pressure here from the greens. Tony just running around. He's on the run. He's just kiting around. He gets a heal. Waz still rotting down a little bit from Kasu here. Now Relza has a little bit of cooldowns to work with. He gets the pain suppression off. Tony's still just running around, trying to get some bleeds, trying to get a mangle. Now Waz going for Relza. Tony ducks back in. They got a full trap on the chest. There's the shackle down onto Tony. There's the shackle from Cass onto Waz. It could be a cross kill. Both people could go down here. Tony manages to kite it out. He bashes up Zuniaki. Zuniaki's going to trinket. Relza's in a full cyclone. I have no idea if Tony's going to survive this. There's no way he's going to survive this. Relza comes out of the cyclone. He has the leap of faith. He pulls him back to the pillar. And Tony stays alive. But there's the spear. It misses. It misses on Tony. And Tony now gets aggressive onto Waz. How is this still going on, Super Tees?
This is absolute bonkers here in game number 1. Waz could fall. There's not much left for Chaz. He has 0 mana in the tank. Are they going to pull this off? Zuniaki, he's trying to pull out emergency measures with void volleys, but Waz and Tony could go down. Shadow or Death Range. Is Tony going to fall? He interrupts Zuniaki, runs for his life behind the pillar with absolutely nothing left here. I don't think Zuniaki can keep up the chase. He goes for the Unholy Nova, trying to get as much pressure out as he can with the Necrolord Covenant, but it looks like Tony is recovered. Horizon are stable at half health here, and Zuniaki is going to get taken out, and I can't believe it that Horizon took this game. There were so many moments where I'm thinking, oh, Waz has got this. Relz is out of it. A Fear with no Berserker Rage. Oh, Tony's out of here. He's got nothing. Runs around the pillar, just around the corner. Just, I can't believe this game won. This was Method's game.
Yeah, Method, this felt like the perfect composition for them to bring into this game number 1, and it seemed like they got to their win condition. The Priest was completely out of mana for, I don't even know, the last 4 minutes of that match, but Horizon just managed to hold on, trading out cooldowns at the right time, going in bear form at the right time. I mean, when Waz went down, I don't know if you guys saw the player cam, he just stood up in disbelief. Yeah. He could not believe, how is Tony not dead right now? Gets the bash on Zuniaki. As soon as Waz is trying to get there, I believe this is where Relz actually gets the life grip. Tony gets a regrowth, in bear form, and here comes the life grip. But once again, the safety. Waz leaps over, the spear comes down. I don't know how this missed. They literally both got out of the spear somehow. And
did he Ursul's Vortex though? That's the only thing I can think is Chaz put them on diminishing return with Ursul's Vortex, so I don't remember seeing it. But that was a big moment. If he didn't walk out of the spear, that would have probably been game over. So I almost wonder if we could watch the replay again just to see if it's possible to find Ursul's Vortex, because or it missed, or it just didn't hit the ground before he got out of it.
But why are they tethered to it if it missed?
Yeah, that's my
question.
How did he get out of this? Ursul's Vortex down? That's what I'm looking for. A little tornado on the ground. Is there a tornado anywhere on the ground? Because that's the only thing that would have DR'd the spear. And I don't see a tornado. No tornado.
I didn't see it.
No tornado.
Nah.
I don't see any tornado from Chaz. And this is.
I don't even think he's playing it.
I mean, you get a default, I believe, unless I'm totally out of it. I'm pretty sure you get a default. He gets pulled. I don't see Ursul's Vortex. This spear comes down.
It looks good.
Yeah.
He didn't like shadow meld it or anything. Like,
look, they're both just walking with the tether next to it.
All right.
Unlucky.
Is it too close to the pillar or something?
Maybe it wasn't in line of sight or something.
Look at Tony's healing in this match. You know, I thought it would be higher, to be honest with you. It's still quite considerable, but I thought it'd be a little bit higher. But still, that's what I was talking about with the Resto Druids too. Resto Druids just own on healing. Their healing is so strong, but they just, as dampening gets higher and higher, they just could not deal with the single target pressure That was a crazy game. I changed back my prediction. I don't necessarily think it's going to be 3-0 anymore with how that one played out. That could definitely be going to a game 5.
Yeah, I can see that happening in that game, and you guys already highlighted it was so close so many times. That's definitely a game that Method U could win going into game number 2, Ben.
Yeah, I mean, I think Method U likely going to lock in the exact same thing. I feel like we'll see this matchup for the rest of this series, like almost 100%. Horizon, although it was a really dicey game, they're still going to be feeling confident. At this point, until they lose, I don't think they should ever switch off of the jungle. And for Method, that was their most convincing game. Even though they lost, that was their most convincing game we've seen from them in this particular matchup. So I don't think Waz should be going on the rogue or anything like that. I think they just lock in the same thing and just hope that they, get a little bit more fortune in their favor, because they did play to the point in the match where they definitely could have won.
Yeah, the last time these two teams faced off against each other in the circuit, it was a 3-0 on Horizon's side. So definitely a dominating performance, and it's looking a little bit different this time around. I think I'm with you on that, Elliot. I don't think we're going to see a 3-0 based on how that game number 1 went. Looks like Method U locking in ASHAMANE'S fall, and we're going to see if Method U likely going to, like you already said, like Elliot already said, going to be playing that same composition once again. I do, however, have a question for you, Ben, though. Do you think that there's a world in which Horizon switches off of jungle if they get a couple losses here in this series?
I don't think so. I feel like the only way they would switch off jungle is if they're getting stomped, and I just don't see it happening with how they're playing and how strong jungle is right now. I don't know if there's any matchup where they're just going to outright just lose. And I mean, maybe they could bring in Gelu. I mean, Gelu on the mage, obviously a phenomenal player, but what are they going to play? The mage feral priest, pretty good composition, but I don't know if it's as strong as the jungle. Yeah. So I think for them, there's almost, unless they lose these next 2 games really quickly and like a really dominant. Like Method has a really dominant performance over them. I feel like we're going to see jungle from them for the rest of the series and maybe for the rest of the day.
Yeah, we'll certainly find out what we do see from these guys in subsequent games. Tony and Wes are met. They're both wearing Calvin Klein jeans shirts. Did you guys notice that? Look at, they're matching.
They coordinated their outfits.
Yeah, they coordinated just like they have their own secret call, like Zico and Elliot do.
I feel like Waz has more and more stuff in his room every day when I watch him on stream.
I was saying the same thing. I wasn't trying to like roast him, but I swear there's like more bags and stuff in his room every time we see him.
I think he's gonna move. That's why.
I was gonna say it looks like you would be moving, but
yeah, it's like, because you're right. It's not like it's mess. It's like stuff in bags. So maybe someone from
Tony's just chilling, just moving. Perfect room.
Yeah, spotless. Not even a wrinkle on
he made his bed.
Exactly. It looks like an IKEA showroom, and Waz is just like, yeah, all my stuff is in bags. But anyways, looks like we've got Method U's composition here. So game number 2, I mean, kind of seeing if they can tie things up going into this, and they've definitely found a potential solution here against Horizon, especially when you compare how they were against them last time. So definitely in a better position than they were here in the circuit, Zico.
Oh yeah, for sure. Method, last time these teams fought, it looked really hopeless for them. But this game number 1, I don't know about you guys, but it wasn't like a convincing game for either side. It didn't feel like a hard counter. We usually see jungle just face hard counters, but this is what Method EU decided to bring in, and it seems like it's somewhat of a even matchup. And if the game goes on, they should have that win condition with the priest running out of mana, and they should be able to take somebody down. But Zuniaki right now is on the back foot. He's going for the master spell. He fakes out the kick, very important there. And now Zuniaki, it's the Disorienting Roar. They're going for Relza. The spear is down, and so is Powered Barrier. The Void bolts are hitting, but not doing too much. There's a silence now to Relza. He runs out of the barrier. He's got the Master Skull. He's got the Roar of Sacrifice from the Hunter. So Relza is going to be completely fine. They're turning on the pressure onto Waz here, but he gets a big heal there from Chaz. Now Zuniaki will be the target here once again for Horizon. And this is one thing Horizon is so good at, just swapping their targets, swapping their pressure. It really taxes the Druid's mana. And if he's just finished healing Waz and you get a full trap like this, then you can punish and go after Zuniaki or vice versa. And that's how they get a lot of their pressure by getting people low and then applying CC through their swapping.
And that's going to really be taxing for Chaz to heal through as well. Heal over time effects onto 2 targets. He's going to have to play tactically here, using Nature Swiftness on Waz as they set up onto Relza with a Spear of Bastion, Stun, and Silence. Void Eruption from Zuniaki. He's fishing for it. Gets the Void Eruption. He needs some of these Void Volleys to connect. He gets 1 Void Volley onto Relza, but not enough, I think, to finish him off as he wraps around the corner. Nice pummel on Penance, removing an efficient heal for Relza. He does not want to be using Shadow Mend here. It's going to cost too much mana, but it looks like he's forced to as he bounces back into the fight. In the meantime, they're setting up pressure on Zuniaki. He's going to punish with a Fleshcraft. No interrupts available. Get maximum value there. But these Void Volleys plus Spear of Bastion could be an insane combo that Method EU win this game with. I really want to see them get that set up perfectly onto Relza. In the meantime, though, Waz is getting punished for training down the healer. Chaz repositions with Ironbark. Is it going to be enough? They drop down a War Banner and defensively Fear to try and disrupt the incoming damage, but it's still coming through as Chaz has to trade out another Nature Swiftness. Waz makes a swap with the second Stormbolt, going onto the Feral Druid, dropping a double Spear of Bastion, trying to get some punishing burst out here. Void Eruption, they need volleys here. How many volleys are going to connect onto Tony and Relza? Not a single one. Zuniaki is not feeling too lucky right now.
Yeah, I mean, definitely some unfortunate RNG there for Zuniaki. Now caught into a stun. Let's see if they can get some damage out. So it looks like Tony, the main target of this match, he's going to be running. Actually, Relza getting trained down a little bit as well. So a bit of a split strategy coming in from Method EU, where Waz is trying to sit on Relza as much as possible. Zuniaki just trying to hit anything he can. And as a result, everyone kind of rots down right now into a Fear. The trap on Chaz, but no damage going out on the Method EU. And I will say, pressure looks really good here for the side of Method EU. However, Horizon has managed to stabilize. Relza actually crossing the map. And if at any point Relza can reset his mana, that's going to be massive for Horizon. I think that's exactly what Method EU wants to try and stop. That being said, Chaz realizes he does not have a mana advantage right now, but it's a lot easier for a Druid to kind of cross the map, get in stealth, and try to recover his mana via drinking. But Casu and Tony both on point. They managed to stop Chaz from recovering his mana, and now they can continue the assault here. Relza under fire, big volley, but at the same time, a beautiful powered barrier shuts down that offense. And I think as a result of that beautiful barrier, Relza should be able to survive.
Yeah, and Relza continues to chain there with a DR Fear, but they don't actually net themselves any real cooldowns here. Zuniaki actually decides to trinket offensively. Wads looking to swap to the offensive gears here, trying to connect onto Relza with some big damage. Tony now is going to have to play babysitter here for Relza, trying to keep him alive. And they're going to swap to Tony. There's a Stormbolt onto Relza. They want to commit onto Tony with this one. And nice full trap onto Chaz into the full Cyclone. And now they're going after Waz here. Shackle's coming down. A bit of a commitment coming out here from Horizon here, trying to just stabilize the pressure. Mana still kind of tied here between the Druid and the Priest, and that is a good thing for the Priest. But Chaz more than likely to stabilize his teammates and go and sneak away for a drink at some point. Right now, Tony still taking a lot of damage. Relza forced to use those powered radiances. Very, very pricey healing there for Relza, but that means the pressure for Method is good. Once again, Chaz here looking to sneak away, and this is his opportunity. Casu is, however, there harassing him. He actually does get the stealth off, but not able to drink, however. Casu doing a great job harassing. Chaz now getting kicked on his Fleshcraft. Now Casu's gonna wait that one out and then go for the trap here potentially. There's the stun. There's the shackle onto Waz. There's the full trap.
Oh.
Massive spell coming out though from Zuniaki, but Waz almost going down regardless. Beautiful pressure coming out from Horizon. Gonna tax even more of Chaz's mana. This one is going to go down to the wire, Sid.
Casu feigned death out of the Spirit Bastion. It has to trade aspect of the turtle. Method EU strike back here with Cyclones onto Relza. Chaz with beautiful crowd control. Now he goes for a drink, but Casu, Door of Shadows, right back on top of him to stop him from drinking. Zuniaki's trying to get ready for the next attack here. Spirit Bastion coming up in about 20 seconds. Waz and Zuniaki are staying right on top of the healer. They land a double fear. Tony is trying to push them away. Chaz is trying to drink, but he's into a freezing trap. Waz gets stunned up behind the pillar. Casu has to go after Zuniaki, though. He can't get to Waz. Waz actually in a good position to line of sight the hunter. Casu trying to find a scare beast on Chaz as he crossed center field. Chaz dodges it as they try to push on top of Relza, but Waz is so far on the back foot. I love these mass entanglements from Chaz onto the hunter pets to the left of your screen during the Bestial Wrath. Controlling that Bestial Wrath is very important. He's also running a conduit to reduce their cooldown so he can more readily remove those pets. Casu in trouble. Beautiful crowd control. Beautiful execution. And they are going to chop him up. Method EU with clean play. I love that they've got the main strategy, the Spear Bastion Void Eruptions on Relza, but they can also flex and swap to different targets as well. This is going to be a difficult series for Horizon.
Yeah, and this is where you really got to wonder if they are going to be bringing in that fourth member. Is there any chance Gelu actually comes in to try to assist in this matchup? It is possible, but I feel like it's kind of unlikely. The Method EU, I think they've come up with the perfect composition to deal with this team, and it's definitely working out for them so far. It is tied up 1-1, but you get the feeling that based off of what happened in game number 1, I feel like Method is definitely looking good for the rest of the series.
Yeah, we'll see if they can keep this up in game number 3 on the side of Method EU. Certainly working things out here against Horizon, but let's check out game number 2 replay.
Yeah, so we're going to see here Chaz just threatening to go drink, always. And Tony, Kazu is going to push in, try to assist his team by stopping that. Has to get Cyclone, gets Recyclone, and they go after Relza here in the back line. And then they do this nice CC chain and actually end up taking out Kazu. So here, Kazu used his Aspect of the Turtle, he used his big heal and like his Exhilaration, and he used his Ventir Teleport. So he used a lot to stop that drink. Now, Kazu, the only defense he has really is that Feign Death. Aside from that Feign Death, he is going to be in big trouble. He gets hit by a Void Volley, he gets hit by another one. Zuniaki pushes forward for the crowd control. They started off with a full Psychic Scream, and then there it is. Kazu, no Feign Death available for this spear right here, and he is going to be in the powered barrier. Reza's going to Trinket to get it off, but Zuniaki is going to stun the Trinket there, and it's going to be enough for Waz to be able to get the kill.
Also, before we analyze it any further, I do want to defend Waz a little bit. It has been confirmed that he is moving, so that explains the state of his room. So everybody can leave him alone in chat.
There's no judgment from me. I'll just say that.
You're right. But yeah, we're gonna head into game number 3. It is tied up now 1-1. So we'll see if Method EU can keep this up. It's gonna be Horizon's map choice moving forward, though. Is there any way we could see them potentially adjusting for game number 3 at all, Elliot?
I mean, that's the question. I mean, this is what I talked about at the beginning of the day. I mean, normally for jungle cleaves, they either look amazing because people don't have an answer, or someone has an answer and then they don't look amazing. They look, not so great. And the really sad thing here for Horizon is, guess what skill capped can run? So if this is the answer, skill capped is going to be like, hey, that does not look too bad. And they have a pretty good warrior on their team as well. So I feel like Horizon's going to be in a lot of trouble if they can't figure out this particular composition. And it could be kind of the end of their run. And maybe Gelu is that key member that needs to come in on the mage. They could run the Feral Mage, maybe some Hunter Mage. I think that's really unlikely, but I wonder if they can switch up. Maybe they need to make some adjustments with their covenants for the jungle cleave, their targeting, their strategy, something like that. But I feel like Method EU looks to be more and more comfortable in the match. That game number 2 is pretty convincing.
Yeah, most certainly was, especially when you compare it to that game number 1 on NAGRAND. So Method EU, they're of course going to try and keep this one up. They weren't able to get a victory off of them the last time these two teams played against each other, so they're for sure in a better spot right now. But Horizon, they're going to be looking to make a comeback. I'd certainly be excited to see Gelu. I don't think we've seen him at all at least in the circuit. I don't know about the cups before that. Do you guys remember if we saw Gelu at all?
I think we've seen him for a few games, but I don't.
Yeah,
I feel like they've experimented with him a little bit, but they often go back to the jungle pretty quickly after.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't really need to change much until maybe even this series has obviously been working out for them. We are heading to ROBODROME. Method EU almost instantly locking in that composition. You can bet that they are super confident with what they're doing at the moment. And now all eyes are on Horizon. What are they going to do as they head into this game, Super Tees?
I think it's going to be jungle again. ROBODROME, a really big map. I think they're trying to set up for Relza to find drinks. With this map, they're going to have Z-axis as well as a big map, so Life Grip is going to be more effective. Wild Charge and the Feral Druid is going to be more effective. And they're just going to have to prepare to play for a later stage fight because the mana is burning down so quickly here. But it's going to be tough for them because it seems like Method EU are constantly going after Relza, so it's not like he's really able to easily escape. I do wonder if we see him switch legendaries at all to the, we called it the Spider-Man legendary, where he can life grip to himself to an ally. He's going to be dropping a lot of value because he's actually running the new 9.1 legendary, which just synergizes with his Night Fae Covenant to get more Fae Guardian effect. So it would be a tough drop for him to move to that legendary. But if he wants to have a more readily available escape for when he's getting targeted down, that might be something he's considering.
Yeah, I mean, mentally to be in a position like this has got to be such a tough spot, especially when kind of everything is on the line like it is right now. You've kind of done everything you can. You're playing your best composition, but you just don't know if you have the answer, Zico. Like, what does that got to be like as a player?
You just gotta trust in what you know and play your game and hope that your teammates play their game and try to keep a level head and just get in there and get it done. I feel like if you're on method side right now, okay, what we've been practicing, what we've been kind of tailoring for this occasion, it seems to be working for us. And if you're on Horizon side, well, you need all the time in the world right now between these games because that's where you can figure out, okay, well, what actually did happen that game? Should we prioritize stopping the Druid? Should we prioritize our cooldowns and go for like a late dampening win? What's the strategy here? And I think for Horizon, seeing how they're very limited with their comps, a lot of the wins in general for a team like UNITAS as well, that primarily runs like a comp that is just good in general. You just have to think about the gameplay and the matchup specifically, and a lot of the time it just comes down to mid-game adaptations, swapping the target or swapping some talents around like Sid was talking about, things like that.
Yeah, most definitely, and we'll hopefully see them make those adaptations moving forward. We can take a look at Tony's stats right now from Horizon. 97% play rate, so I guess maybe that other percentage would be when we saw Gelu come in. But that's a really, really high percentage, of course. And, we know this team very well known on that jungle composition, not likely to, we don't really see them swap off that often, but I wonder how many more, I know we talk about this with just jungle teams in general, how like they can't really play other compositions just because of the nature of the actual specs. I wonder just like how dominating jungles would be if that wasn't the case, Ben, because like we know how well Horizon did without being able to sort of swap around comps too often, but if like it was more adaptable, you know what I'm trying to say? Am I making sense?
Well, I mean, this is what we've seen from jungle in the past. I mean, right now, what's interesting about jungle is we've actually seen the Hunter run multiple specializations. So the Beast Mastery, obviously really effective, but the last time we saw them, they actually ran survival a little bit as well. So a little bit more melee damage, and they ended up training down the healer. And I kind of wonder if that's something that they could do in this match. Kind of maybe throw caution to the wind, allow their priest to just kind of keep himself alive the best they can, and just train down Chaz on that druid with the survival hunter. It's not going to be something we see just now, but maybe something they could adapt to in the future. But yeah, we'll definitely have to see what Horizon can do. They do have options with the covenants that they play, with some of the specializations they play, the talents, the targeting, their strategy. So there is that flexibility, but Method EU, I feel like, has come with a really solid composition overall. And we'll have to see if Horizon can make those adaptations to pull off a Game 3 win.
All right, let's see it. The score is 1-1, and this is a swing match right now. It could mean everything in terms of map advantage and a potential swing ball or a curve ball at the end of the series. We got Zuniaki right now pushing forward. He's got the Vampiric Embrace active. He's looking for the stun onto Relza. Waz is going to connect. There's the Spear. There's the Void Eruption. Here comes the volleys. They get the silence. They get the volleys. None of them hitting Tony, though. He's going to get that Cyclone onto Waz. Relza still under heavy fire here. Zuniaki still tearing in here with Waz in the backline. Waz having that big pressure right now, and he is going to be the target for a little bit. Tony still in a fear. They're going to get another Stormbolt here. A lot of aggression coming out from Method here in the opening stages. Now, finally, they're going to go after Zuniaki to get a full trap here. Zuniaki in massive trouble. He's just going to trade out the Dispersion. No Shackle for the Dispersion here. They're going to Cyclone it potentially. No, the Cyclone Chaz. I feel like if they had a Shackle on that Dispersion, That could have been potentially a kill, or at least a lot more defensives coming out from Method EU. However, they do get the dispersion, which is a win in of itself for Horizon, and they still have that Berserk. They still have some. Actually, they don't have Berserk, but they still have those BM Hunter cooldowns to work with. So the next trap could still be very deadly for Method.
And Spirit Bastion onto Kasu. And it looks like a barrier is going to get dropped, protecting the whole team. There's a high-value barrier from Relza. That yellow shield just protecting the whole team, reducing significant damage. So Waz is just going to fear up everybody to buy time for Chaz to drink, but he might not have enough time. He's stunned behind the pillar on game number 3. Chaz tries to go in, but it's not enough. He's down at 1% and gets absolutely chopped. Waz can't believe it. He tried to set that up with a full fear onto the whole team, but they just immediately pounced on top of him and punished. Horizon moved to match point.
These are the kind of adaptations we're talking about. Horizon throwing a curveball with a big all in there onto Waz, and it pays off in a huge way. Our shortest game of the series, and now they're on match point. And all of a sudden, this is the thing for Method, for Method. How confident are you really feeling in this match? I mean, that is the thing. You just, you've had 2 really close games. Game number 3, you lose really quickly, and now your counter comp. Are you confident in it anymore?
Well, like, you won one game that was like really convincingly. It looked like you were just owning the whole game. But you had that one really, really sweaty loss, and then you had this one, which was very, really convincing the other way, right? So for Method, I think they're going to have to stick to this composition here. They're going to just have to try to work on what they already know, because this is the closest they've gotten really to beating this jungle, in these last couple of weeks. So I feel like for Method, there's got to be something that went wrong for them here, because I think Chaz, he dropped an Iron Bark here. Waz gets the full fear. Chaz actually, is he sitting back drinking right now? Oh, yeah. I think Chaz is making a big mistake right here. And then he gets stunned into a trap when Waz is already low. Yeah, there's no recovery from that. So Chaz Iron Barked Waz right there. And he said, okay, I'm going to throw you the Iron Bark, and I'm going to go and drink because it's a small map and it's hard to drink here. And I guess Waz wasn't aware of it, or went aggressive, or Chaz drank too long. There was definitely some miscommunication there between Chaz and Waz, and it stings because that was a very important game to win. It was 1-1, and Method losing that first game. If they win this game here, well, in game number 5, it's going to be Horizon holding all the cards, deciding if they want to take it to Black Rook Hold, if they want to take it to, those small quarters where they like to play. And Method, they're just going to have to deal with that. And it's a shame because that was a little bit of a throwaway, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Method EU, they were in a really, really good spot, and they kind of just threw that away. Now Horizon, they're only 1 game away from sending Method EU down to the lower bracket, and Reload Esports is waiting down there. Actually, I don't think they're going to have to face off against them. I don't think they have an opponent yet, but either way, that's not a place that they want to be in. And Horizon in a really good spot. Method EU, they were really confident with that composition going into that game, and it just didn't end the way that they expected it to. So do we think that they lock that in again then, Zico? Or switch it up?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I think both teams are locking in the same thing. I think this is... there's no more time for guesswork. There's no more time to swap things around. This is it. These are the comps. You've both won games with it. It's looked close both sides. And it's time to just play good. And whoever the better team is going to win.
Yeah, it certainly makes sense, especially with how quickly this draft process goes. They only have like 2 minutes to pick their composition. They're going to be choosing their map first. So at least they're not in a position where they're going to have to blind lock this composition. But Horizon, they're going to lock in their comp, and then we're going to see Method EU respond with what they're going to do for potentially their last game if they don't get a victory here. But it's going to have to be... it's going to be an uphill battle for these guys. Now they're going to have to win 2 games in a row. They basically can't lose anything else here against Horizon. So we shall see as we head into Black Rook Hold, Super Tees.
Okay, going for a smaller map here. Still decent positioning for Chaz to drink as well with the back starting rooms. You can just line of sight any potential AoE inside of the gate. So it's a nice map here, I think, by Method EU. I wouldn't imagine anything changing here. The Shadow Priest Warrior Druid, it was just obviously they were overconfident, right? They're like, okay, Iron Bark and Fear, I'm going to drink. But maybe Chaz could have drank closer to the fight in one more point of line of sight. Also, he's running Relentless, so it seems very risky to drink when Waz has no trinket, and then obviously Chaz has no trinket because he's Relentless. So both those players can just be removed from the fight with a single stun. I think that they just didn't expect that amount of damage. I mean, even in my if I was playing the game or something, like a full fear on the whole team, that seems like a pretty good time to drink, right? It's just Chaz was a little bit too far away from the fight. Maybe Waz, if he wasn't rooted during the fear, could have tried to move closer to his line of sight. But now they're aware of that, right? I don't think that they're going to just be like, all right, a fear is enough to drink. They're not going to let something like that happen again. They can't afford to, otherwise Horizon will advance. Horizon, I think, really have the pressure on them because they want to avoid Reload Esports. That one team has Ret Warrior, and Ret Warrior has been dominating almost every jungle that it's come across. So Horizon really need this win and just to move forward in the bracket. And then they're just going to be like, all right, Method, please eliminate Reload Esports for us.
Yeah, the series could literally be the difference between Horizon getting last place and first place. So that's how much is on the line.
That's so true.
Yeah, it's crazy because Horizon, they would do the best against the teams that came second and first and second, or I guess first and third because they came second. So for them, it's exactly what you guys are saying. Method, they're kind of one of the easier teams for them to beat. I mean, it's not looking very easy for them right now, but that's just how fierce the competition is in Europe. You know, this is a team that they have a good record against, and so is Skill Cap. So. For them, the perfect bracket is this. They get Method here, Skill Cap already won, then they clash with Skill Cap, and then they're in the finals. And then more likely than not, Method or Skill Cap will clean up in the lower bracket, and they can get that rematch. So for Horizon, it really is everything on the line in this game as well as the next one.
All right, let's see what they can get done here. The gates have opened on match point. And Waz takes to center pillar. Zuniaki posted up with him as well, trying to find Kasu and Tony in stealth. Looks like they pulled the Hunter out, so they're going to start the fight onto Zuniaki. Work at breaking down that Fleshcraft and isolate the target. Now swapping over to Waz with a freezing trap on the Chaz. Nice entangling root, hits the grip. Beautiful timing, and Waz is getting smoked here in game number 4. Horizon, absolutely stunning aggression, and they will be advancing to face Skill Cap.
Oh my goodness gracious, what just happened? Horizon, game number 3, game number 4, coming out of the gates smoking hot, getting 2 quick wins back to back. They send Method down to the lower bracket, and they